Hello guys, and welcome to a new Star Division 2 video today by me, Vulcan. In this one I have for you a 1 versus 1 on Orsha East, and in this one I'm going to be playing on the red side using the 1st Polish Infantry and the Vanguard deployment type. And on the blue side we have Theoman 222 who's going to be using the 6th South African Armoured and the Vanguard deployment type. So this is game 1 of 2 games played against Theoman in the group stage of Division 3 of the Steel Division 2 League. So this is following on from my games with Attack Power and CK530. Theoman was my 3rd week opponent, and coming back from my holiday all fresh as a daisy and looking forward to these games against Theo. Theo is a veteran of Steel Division 2 though, so not to be underestimated, and he did kind of throw me off in the picks and bads. So he chose the 6th South African Vanguard after I showed the 1st Polish, which left me with the choice of which deployment type I wanted to go. And considering he went Vanguard, and I'm quite confident with the 1st Polish after my win against CK530, I was just like, you know what, let's go Vanguard as well. And Theo wanted to have a bit of a fun game here, try a different strategy, so I obliged and just kind of went with the Vanguard, and yeah, we're going to see how that goes. Up the top side here, I have the Miotacz. These are the flamers with the PTRS squad and the machine gun. There's also a Siedlce up there with the 45mm AT gun. Also got another flamer moving towards this compound with PTRS. I've got this Viad and a 45mm also heading over there with a PO2 to follow. Into the centre, we got the Miotacz with the PTRS moving really aggressively forwards with the leader there. Another PTRS, another machine gun. I've got some Siedlce, the SU-57 and the 45. On the bottom side, more flamers, more PTRS, leader, Siedlce, Sapperje rocks, and also the Siedlce there. And I've also got the infantry gun and another PO2. So recon on the top and bottom side. And on the side of Theo, he went for a bunch of engineers into the centre here early on, which aren't very strong units. They can get to the front line quickly. They're probably one of the only options that the 6th South African really has for units that can get to the front line quickly. But against the Flamers, they're not going to do too great. They did manage to get the nade off there and kill one of my squads. I didn't actually see that get thrown, so I wasn't able to dodge it. But on the top side, going to be able to get a transport snipe here with the PTRS, which was really nice. But his Stuart Recce was actually causing me issues. I don't really have a way to reliably kill that, the PTRS. Not really the best for taking out that with the 40mm of frontal armour. I managed to get my flamers into a decent position here. On the top side, my recon plane got forced back, but it did give me enough time to spot his armor push up here. At the start, he brought in 2 Sherman 1Bs, a Firefly, and a Sherman 5. He's going to be using the Marauder to also bomb my infantry here and just kind of try and make a bit of a breakthrough on the top side. But I've got the IL-2 cluster bomber already coming in here, and I'm looking to hit his Sherman 1Bs. He does manage to dodge pretty well. Unfortunately, due to the 50 cal, I don't get the kill on the Sherman 1B, but they're both damaged, which means they're only going to take 1 shot from either to really get the job done. Meanwhile, on the bottom side, Siedlce versus field engineers at range is good for me because I'm making good use of the SVTs in order to kill them off without having to be in range of the TNT. And here, the rifles here are going to be taking out one of my Siedlce LKM squads. But currently I'm sitting at 16-8 early on, as I do have a nice advantage here against Theoman on the bottom side, and I've also got a good advantage on the top of the hill, and almost all of his points were invested into this push, which is only just recovered from my IL-2 cluster plane. So the IL-2 cluster plane, even though it didn't get kills, it did kind of slow down Theoman's initial push here. I'm going to bring in an IL-2 to the top side, a 250 kilogram bomb IL-2. Going to be looking for the Stuart there, get rid of that Stuart Recce so that my Siedlce and the Miotacz can move forwards. And I've also got an SU-85 on the way, so basically setting up some defense against this abundance of armor that Theoman has heading my way. And I think initially Theoman was intending to just kind of overrun this area much more efficiently than he currently has. Like, if he could like just zoom forwards here and come down the road and create a massive breakthrough on this top side, he would be able to get hold of this flag, and this flag very quickly, and that would give him a nice position on the top side of the map. but it didn't really work out due to the IL-2 cluster plane. But it was really, he said to me after the game that he was really looking to do a Desert Rats play, similar to that you used to be able to do in Steel Division Normandy 44, where you use like a lot of these Shermans with 50 cals and units with 50 cals to kind of push really hard. So that's why he's got like Stuart here, for example, as well. But my Su-85 going to be helping with the motorized rifles there. The 45mm is actually doing a good job of holding them off. I'm going to be unloading a couple of infantry further back early on, just so that they don't end up bumping into these Shermans and getting killed off. But I do have the IL-2 on the way now with the bombing run. I wasn't entirely sure what got here, and I wasn't able to really take the time to zoom in and see if something's damaged, because if you look at the Sherman 1B, you can see it's damaged there. But I went for the Sherman 5 command. I thought if I could take out the command, that would be great. Unfortunately, Theoman has brought up the Bofors 40mm, so that is going to obviously cause my IL-2 to have to fall back. But nicely secured this bottom side. The double PTRS is going to be good to take on these M3A1 half tracks. I've just got to make sure that I don't stay in line of sight of those. So you can see the Siedlce going to have to fall back. My Siedlce, they're going to be moving back as well. Haven't really made much of a play here yet. It's kind of really close. Technically, I think close range, like the SVTs should beat the rifles, but I'm just going to be bringing in the bomber. That's going to be killing off the rifles there. I'm also going to be able to surrender the second rifle squad. So really, really efficient, actually, bombing strike that allowed me to take that flag without losing any infantry. But I did lose the IL-2 to the Spitfire, so that obviously wasn't ideal. T-34 is going to come up, and that's going to clean up these half tracks. And then as soon as the half tracks are dead, I'm going to be able to move to the edge of the cover in order to take down his motorized rifles. So with the 1st Polish infantry, the infantry is super strong. So, and Theoman has picked a division which has probably one of the weakest infantry tabs of all of the allied forces. It really is pretty damn lackluster. But they do have an abundance of armor that they can use to good effect. It's just like things like a Firefly only has a 30 cal, so it's not really going to be able to do much against my infantry, which is really what he needs to deal with in order to stop his infantry dying as quickly as they did just then. Also, with this like big hold on the hill, I'm currently still 16-8 early on, and I'm currently setting up on the edge of the hill. So the Sherman 1Bs, they can definitely chunk infantry squads very quickly, but going to be able to get them off the ridge there. Ideally, they should have been in this town already. That's where they were intended to go. I just hadn't really microed them there yet because I'm busy bringing up the Su-85s in order to counter this armor push that's coming through here. He still has a lot of units. He still very much could branch out and take these points if he needed to, but since the Shermans are damaged, the Su-85s with the APCR are enough to kill them off. So that's what I'm going to be trying to do here. Use this 4 damage APCR shell with the 50% accuracy to get these shots with the 2-star veterancy, and both of the Sherman 1Bs are now dead, which is really good for me because it's going to allow my infantry to be more efficient on the pushback. He's going to be falling back with his Sherman 5, doesn't want to get caught out by the double Su-85, and meanwhile on the bottom side, the Sherman's trying to do its best to deal with all of my infantry, but I'm quite simply just attack moving across the open because this can't do anything. Also, in the meantime, the Su-57 here is covering the road, which caused the transport snipe, and the unit that did get unloaded just got absolutely melted by the Su-57 at range as well, because it does have the 2-star veterancy with the leader next door. So things are going really, really well for me so far, and I was kind of confident going into this matchup because I knew how bad the 6th South African infantry was, and well, he hadn't really done anything to deal with my infantry, so that was great. And I bring in 2 Yak 1Bs here. This is actually kind of crazy. Okay, watch this. So he's got a Marauder Mark III, and well, there goes one of my Yaks, and my other Yak's going to end up in front of his Marauder, and it gets shot down as well. And also my IL-2 went down to a Spitfire. So at this point I was like, did I just throw the game? I brought in both my Yaks. I went for his Marauder, which killed my Sapari, and I didn't even shoot it down. And I lost my IL-2, which was really bad. Thankfully, my map position is pretty damn good still. I have 19-5 on the map. My Siedlce are getting into position in this forest, which all of these vehicles are going to have trouble dislodging. And I'm now looking to engage these field engineers in the open with the help of the Connie that are going to be like revealing them from the Su-85s. On their own, the Su-85s couldn't actually see them, so I had to move forwards that infantry squad to spot them. And now I'm going to be trying to look for line of sight onto this Firefly. It's just I couldn't quite get there since he's just behind this like little bit of light cover, which is kind of restricting the range there. But yeah, these Spitfires were kind of annoying, so I did eventually bring up some AA in order to kind of allow myself to control the air engagements, because what you ideally need to do in this situation is get AA up so that you can sort of suppress the enemy aircraft and then bring in your own aircraft to shoot them down. Anyway, Su-85 going to be taking the first shot of the Firefly, managed to get the shot in there. The Firefly, I believe, was actually aiming in the wrong direction. It does manage to hit my Su-85, but with the extra 2 shots from the Su-85s, it's perfect amount of damage to kill that. So Firefly does go down. Like the first APCR shot is 4 damage, and then there's 2 more 4 damage, which is 12 damage. The Firefly only has 10 health, so you know, easy kill there for the Su-85s. Quite nice. Anyway, tanks just really forcing their way forwards right now. Theoman coming in with a bunch of these motorized rifles as well, really just trying to utilize the 50 cals on his vehicles to get a lot of damage done. And well, this is a kind of crucial moment here that one of the Spitfires is going to be going down as it goes after my IL-2, and they're going to be taking out the second one. I unloaded my 37mm early here to help suppress both of those so they couldn't really dogfight very well, and that worked out perfectly. 37 in the middle, started suppressing them, allowed my Yak to get on the back, and I managed to kill both of his fighters, which was really, really big. Now coming in with that cluster bomb, and it takes up both the half-track and the Firefly. Really, really nice kills. Now the PTRS here going to be firing at this half-track and does manage to kill it as well, so that's paying itself even more, because that is a 10-point anti-tank rifle squad, and it's able to kill off a 15-point half-track, so I'm very, very happy with that, and I'm just going to try and retreat them to the edge of the map so they don't get entirely killed off, because this push is actually kind of working. Since my units here are behind enemy lines now, this push is making a lot of ground, and he's also managed to get these Stuart Recce's to come in behind my lines, and the Sherman has found the Flamer squad, so yeah, he is starting to kind of get into my backline a little bit using this top side push, and he's also managed to get those vehicles forwards to project a front line on this bottom side. My 37 is in a little bit of trouble here, because if the 50 cals get on target, that is going to end up surrendering my 37, so that would be unfortunate. But I've got the IL-2 coming over to help deal with the motorized rifles. My plan was to spot the motorized rifles with the leader, bomb it with the IL-2, and then surrender them, but didn't quite work out the way. But I did manage to get really good kills onto the Shermans. Because there's no Firefly here to stop my T-34 anymore, there's just the Sherman 1Bs, T-34 is free to move forwards and deal with those. Also got a T-34 coming in to deal with the M3A1 half-tracks, managed to kill one of them with the T-34, and Theoman fails to surrender my 37, since he had to kind of like fast move that out the way as quickly as possible to avoid it being killed by the T-34 as well. So yeah, he probably could have turned back and made sure he surrendered that. It probably would have been worth it regardless, but he didn't choose to in the end. The Stuart Recce's really deep in my backline. They don't actually affect the front line, so I just need to get rid of the M3A1 and everything's fine. I don't really mind these being in the backline because they can't do too much to my infantry, especially like the Siedlce here, they come in a half-track, so the machine guns aren't going to do anything. But the motorized rifles are going to get the Pierre onto the T-34, and Theo here is, causing me issues, but with it being a 15-9, only 2 minutes and 50 seconds left on the clock at this point, which is very good for me. And I've managed to break down his top push, like the Shermans are gone and the Firefly. There is a new Sherman here that's trying to find my machine gun, but it's not firing, so it can't see it. At close range, the rifles will win that engagement just because I'm kind of low on numbers. But IL-2 going to come through with the cluster bombs and try and take care of this Sherman. And I'm going to be trying to get out the way of that, but since this is pinned down, it is going to also hit my machine gun, but I do manage to get the kill on the Sherman, and that was pretty clutch. That was nice. So Sherman down, machine gun survives. That means I maintain the front line over that flag, maintain the 15-9. Also got the Su-57 now on like a quick hunt order, trying to find this M3A1 so it's not controlling that flag. And I'm going to be trying to work my way back into this area. The other thing that Theo was trying to do here was find the infantry that I put in these buildings. We're like just hiding behind each other's lines. It was so chaotic at this point in the game for me. I was like really kind of worried that he was going to end up getting the better of me with all of this stuff behind my lines. But after I clean it up, his front line's actually pretty anemic. But this was a really interesting play. He's using the Firefly to try and find the positioning of my infantry. But what I'm doing is I'm using the Flamer to keep the Firefly moving so it's not accurate. And I'm also going to be doing damage to it with each of these Flamer shots. So I can just keep jumping in and out. It's going to make it really hard for him to control the Firefly because it's going to constantly just drive in all sorts of directions. And you can see it is getting really damaged over time. He's got to be really careful with that Firefly, but if he's not close enough, he can't see that, and then I can just, you know, keep jumping in and out. And he's going to try and attack me forwards, and that's absolutely fine. But then I also have this unit here, which has a TNT. And since I've already damaged the Firefly, I think you guys can figure out what's going to happen. TNT comes down, I'm going to dodge the TNT with the Sapphire, and, well, kill the Firefly with 2 units that don't even have AT. So that was really quite nice. A little bit of a cheeky play there for me. Sherman 1B is going to get the shot off and finally pin down that unit. But I'm able to jump out this unit quickly and finish off the motorized rifles. At least that's what I was trying to do. Just some cheeky micro here, jumping in and out of the buildings, being really, really annoying. And forcing him basically to focus on it, which is fine by me because I just want to kind of finish the game right now. Get the 15-9 over with and take a decent victory against Theoman. And I think Theoman, in this case, kind of like shot himself in the foot by taking the 6th South African, and he had the plan of overwhelming me with like the 50 cal units on the top side early on, but the cluster plane was really, really good. And on the bottom here, like with the motorized rifles going to be going down, that's going to be another flag in my favor. That Flamer squad finally gets taken out. I'm just going to be replacing that flag with this flag anyway. So there we have it. That is it. That is game 1. 16 minutes 12 seconds in against Theoman in the Steel Division League, and I was very, very happy to get another victory under my belt. Like, going into this game, this matchup against Theoman wasn't necessarily about, like, for me at least, it wasn't about just winning. It was about kind of proving that I belong in Division 3. So getting another win under my belt, I was really, really happy, and it was quite a decisive victory. You know, 1,830 kills to 1,050 losses. Again, I think it mainly comes down to the division matchup more than anything else. Theoman is a very good player, and you could see that he was exploiting his breakthroughs very well with those half-tracks and the Stuart Recce's. It's just if they were like different units and he had more powerful infantry, then that would have been a lot more scary. But in this case, was not to be. So yeah, that puts me 3 losses, 2 wins now in the Steel Division League, and I was hoping going into the next game that I could pick up another win and at least go 3-3 to kind of redeem myself after what was a pretty shocking display. But it was funny, playing this game made me realize just how drained I was before my holiday, and coming back and playing this game was like so different. Like, I just felt so different. I felt more confident. I think also I felt more confident, obviously, because I'd already played games, so that helped. You know, like playing the games before the holiday also gave me the experience that I needed to play the games after my holiday, so that was very helpful. But the Su-85s here, you can see they did very well. They cleaned up nicely for me. The 4 HE, or the 4 damage, sorry, on the APCR there, really, really good for cleaning up these Shermans after they took the damage from the cluster. Also, getting my own back on the Spitfires was really important. Killing both of those with the use of the 37mm AA was pretty spot on. Like, it couldn't have gone any better. Bringing in the 37s and shooting down those aircraft, and after those went down, he didn't really have a way of like tackling my infantry effectively, since I was able to then cover against the bombers to a certain degree as well. But yeah, Su-57s also really, really helpful early on. The PTRSs did well for me, picking off a couple units here and there, and I also managed to clean up a couple half tracks with them. Getting the cheeky kill onto the Firefly with the HE grenade there towards the end was really nice as well. And yeah, look how many transport snipes this SU-57 got. I guess one of these was, one or two of these was actually just HE fire, but yeah, otherwise really, really good. And they also killed a Shem too. That was one on the edge of the hill in the middle. So yeah, just some really strong units in the first Polish. Very, very, very comfortable division for me. I'm going to say it, even though I probably shouldn't. It is one of my favorite divisions in the game. It kind of replaced Churlin when it came out for me, and has remained strong, and it is strong in the Steel Division League. So that's cool, and it's always fun when I get to play it. So yeah, played it again. Gave me the confidence in game 1 to take it from Theoman, and that's what I did. So yeah. Commiserations to Theoman, but he played, I think, an interesting strategy. It just didn't really pay off. I think what he had in mind didn't really match up to the deck that I chose. If I had like a division which had maybe a bit more lackluster infantry, then maybe he could have really leveraged his armor advantage. But in this case, no. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to leave it there. We'll be moving on to game 2 against Theoman, of course, and we'll see how I end up in the Steel Division League in terms of my group stage games. That is it. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.